And it's time for the noon bulletin. We're coming to you live from the Kwiaboahima studio at North Ridge. This is News Beat. I am Anie Fwampofo, and we'll be streaming live on Facebook as Metro TV Ghana, on Instagram and Twitter as Metro TV_GH. We'll take a look at the headlines of the stories coming up. ECG staff in Krobo Enclave to stay off work over continuous threats from residents. Meanwhile, health facilities are bearing the brunt of the week-long power outage in the area. Latest polls by Global Info Analytics shows an unprecedented win for NDC parliamentary candidate Elikrim Akugru in the Dom Kwabinya constituency. And on the foreign front, top U.S. Democrat Nancy Pelosi leaves Taiwan after meeting its President Chang Ing-wen, despite warnings from China not to do so. Welcome back. The news now in detail. Now, residents in the Krobo Enclave from Somanya through Odomasi to Kpong have been without electricity since last Wednesday without any reason or communication from the power distribution company. A visit to some hospitals revealed that some departments such as X-ray, laboratory, IT and some theatres have been closed down due to unavailability of fuel to power its plants. Now, according to both health directorates, the municipal gold chain equipment has been relocated to other facilities in nearby towns. A mortuary attendant at the Etua Government Hospital says they are struggling to preserve bodies at their disposal.
That we have to get the light because so with our plants, no. What fuel is going, and on that too, we don't get how the capacity to work with the machine, we don't get. Yeah, so we need the light. Yes. Some of the bodies are going bad as I talk now. The system become low as the plant is working. It's come low. So if we get light, then our machine are very comfortable for us.
All right, now let's talk to health workers. And health workers in the Krobo say their work is severely impacted by the power outage in the community. According to them, not just health care delivery is hanging on the thin line, but their lives are also at risk. Now, the darkness is giving room to some criminals and hoodlums to rob and harass health workers who live in hard to rich areas that they are actually going to. Now, there was an instance where a nurse was robbed at in the dark while walking home after closing from work. Therefore, they have called for authorities to resolve the issues. Let's now join via Zoom anesthetics for a conversation on this. Emmanuel Malcho is the health worker that we're going to be speaking with. Emmanuel, are you with me via Zoom? Doctor, is this Dr. Anaba or Emmanuel? Okay.
Emmanuel is here.
Okay, so I also have Dr. Anaba as well to speak to us on the development. Doctor and Emmanuel, thank you for your time and thank you for joining us on Newsbeat. Let me start off with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you are an anesthetist, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you describe to us the situation that you go through in a day, in this particular situation that you find yourself?
Okay, good afternoon and good afternoon to your viewers. As you said, my name is Emmanuel Milecho. I'm an anesthetist and I'll be speaking in that category as an individual and the convener for Coalition of Healthcare Workers in Koboland. The issue of ECG taking their lights out in the Kobo area has been on and off. Issues get solved sometimes and come back, but our attention is not on who caused what or who is not causing what. Our attention now is on the security and safety of the healthcare workers within the Koboland. I may not go into a whole lot of things that are happening to the hospital because already our directors and municipal directories already gave out joint press release 3 days ago. And the health workers who manage these facilities, including the medical superintendents and the administrators, are also at risk. The last time a colleague got robbed, we were just lucky there was nothing in her bag, so the bag was dropped and then they went for it.
Emmanuel, if you can hold on.
Got an attempted robbery in returns.
Okay, I'm struggling to hear you clearly. Let me try and bring Dr. Anaba in. Emmanuel, as you adjust yourself for us to get a smooth communication. Dr. Anaba, thank you as well for joining me. So you are the Executive Director for African Center for Health Policy Research and Analysis, correct? Hello, Dr. Anaba. Okay, can Dr. Anaba hear me? Kindly unmute. I think you're speaking, but we cannot hear you. So please unmute your mic.
Right.
Okay, great. I can hear you now. So what will you say about the situation in the Lower Manya Krobo areas, in these two municipalities that have their power outage, off, affecting the healthcare system in the area?
As you know, power is very vital in healthcare delivery, and then most of our gadgets in our health facilities are run on power. So anytime we don't have power, even from the reception, with the new health insurance, online registrations and the rest, you can't even register to see a doctor. When you go to the consulting rooms, they can't even take care of you. When you want to go to the pharmacy, they can't. More importantly, are the diagnostic departments like the pharmacy, the laboratory, imaging, ultrasound, anesthesia, theater. All these people cannot run, meaning that patients who come to those hospitals and they don't have money to buy fuel for their generators, virtually all services cannot run. I heard them talk about the mortuary. Yes, after the mortuary, we can say that the patient can quickly be buried, but those who are sick cannot get health delivery performed on them because there is no power to power the gadgets that we use to make our diagnosis. Besides the doctor looking at you, assessing you, and making some preliminary diagnosis, he needs laboratory and imaging to be able to make confirmed diagnosis about you. If there is no power, there is no X-ray. If there is no power, there is no ultrasound. If there's no power, they can't run most of the laboratory tests, especially the chemistries and the hormonals. Perhaps malaria rapid tests can be run, typhoid can be run, but most of the important tests cannot be run. This will mean that patients have to travel to other districts where there is power to go and seek for help. And if you are unable to travel, it means that you bear the wrath of your disease. Right. So I think that power outage from any community in the world right now is a challenge to health delivery because we have gone technological and most diagnostic equipments in the world depend on power for them to function.
Do you think that
my worry about the power outage?
I'm not sure how the technical connection looks like in terms of power provision to these municipalities, but should ECG be taking such an action? Should it have a system that will exempt health centers in the area from this looking like punishment?
I think before they take this action, they have to sit down. The security team has to sit down to analyze the action of ECG. ECG cannot just alone go and off a whole district without meeting the DISEC. DISEC must sit down to analyze whether the action they are going to take would have a negative repercussion on innocent persons. Because it's not everybody, perhaps, who haven't paid who doesn't pay their bills. It is those who are recalcitrant. So if you are going to take an action that would affect the entire community, affect health facilities, affect health delivery equipment, then I think the DISEC has failed. Because if they are taking into cognizance this problem that we are facing today, this wouldn't have happened. They would have resourced those hospitals with enough fuel and generators to power their equipment, whilst the other parts of the district is in lights up. And as I tell you, I know those hospitals are struggling to buy fuel to power their generators. So there is a deep connection. There should be a connection between DISEC, ECG, before they take decisions like this. It's not only terrorism, which is a risk to human beings. Health is a risk. So if you shut power to any community, remember that the health facilities and even schools may even shut down. Many businesses will shut down, and that will cause a negative effect on the economy of the community. And now we are having serious health challenges in the community because of lack of power. So I think the district chief executive must come up with a security team to provide fuel for these hospitals to be able to run, to avert the crisis that they are facing currently.
Doc, kindly hold on. Emmanuel, are you still with me? Emmanuel, can I hear you? Okay, I wish I had Emmanuel. Is it Malcho or Milcho with me? Emmanuel. Okay, he's a health worker within these communities that have their power cut. Dr. Naba, is it prudent to have the health centers connect to prepaid meters, considering the nature of their work?
I am telling you, it is not recommendable. The reason is that if the hospital doesn't get its money reimbursed by National Health Insurance, the power will go off. And if it goes off, by the time they go to negotiate and come to get money to spark their generator, it will be a problem. No health facility should have any prepaid meter attached to its meter source, or else they will cause serious problems with very grave consequences to people's health. So I don't recommend prepaid meters to any hospital. I don't think it's a welcome news. It shouldn't be done. Hospitals should have free flow of power. If they have to negotiate to pay their bills by installment, they have to negotiate to pay. But if they make a mistake and put any hospital in prepaid and they don't get money from NHIS, because most of the hospitals depend 90% on NHIS to pay their to pay their bills and to pay their creditors. And if they are owing ECG and the power doesn't flow because it's a prepaid meter, I think you yourself, you will not be happy. You will not be happy to hear the news that will come on. So that should not be on the table at all to be discussed.
All right. So we have Sechua Mensah, who is ECG PRO within the Tama Enclave. Sechua, thank you for your time. Good afternoon to you. Can you describe what exactly is the situation between ECG and these two municipalities that don't have power?
Let's not create a situation of a possible war. No, let's not create that. ECG is willing to work. We've been working, but then we had some challenges with our systems. We had some challenges with people interfering with us, with our network. They are connecting transformers without our authorization. We don't know how safe these transformers are. We don't know how safe our power systems are. We cannot guarantee the safety of the electricity we are to provide if we should continue providing. So if there's an interference in the network, the first option is to shut down. It's just like when ECG discovers an issue of illegal connection in an individual's home. The first option always, all the time, is that we cut power because we do not know the extent of interference you have done on your own. So we cut the power supply so that we'll be able to work out the like whatever modalities are there to ensure that once we are going to continue supplying, the power will be safe. Now, there's also this issue of threat to our lives. We go to the field, we just want to work. We are workers. We need certain aspects of our work have to be done on the field. We go to the field and we are prevented from working. We are pelted with stones. There's been 2 gunshots directed aimed at ECG officers and some military personnel. There is danger for ECG people We do not want to go to
workers went into the field with the military officers. Remember, we spoke with you and you indicated that they were there for technical reasons, to provide technical assistance, but they couldn't provide security as their basic responsibility for ECG workers in the area?
Okay, so if gunshots are fired at you from places you do not know or from people you do not know of, how do you handle that? How do you manage that?
But you went with security experts, security practitioners. They know how to trace gunshots and, you know, things like that. Even the police could have done that. If anybody, you know, fired a gun, how do you know that they fired at your workers when you didn't know where the direction of the gunshots were coming from?
Madam, are you saying that we should have had a bloodshed? Is that what you're saying?
I'd never mentioned anything of that nature.
People, should there have been an exchange?
So when you decided to cut...
There's an issue, okay? There's an issue. It's two sides. ECG, we have our concerns. Now, there's this general disposition as if ECG workers are being recalcitrant or we are being the bullies here. No, we are not being the bullies. Are you hearing us? Are you hearing us? We are telling you that our lives are being threatened. We are being pelted with stones. Are you hearing us? Are you hearing ECG workers?
Okay, are you also hearing the cries from the community, especially from the health sector, where we have, I'm sorry, if you can allow me, where we have health, you know, pressing issues currently within the health sectors, I mean the health facilities, bodies are being rotten because they have no power, you know, providing, it's also, it has to do with life-threatening situation also in the, you know, in the area. So it's a two-way affair. I'm not sure if you had a communication with either the RESEC or DISEC before you took this decision. Did you?
Madam, I am very, very, very sure that you are not as aware of the issues on the ground as you need to for us to have this conversation. If not, you may not be asking us this question. Now, assuming we supply electricity.
I'm sorry, but I'm the same person.
Please, can I also land? Please, can I also land?
Okay, go ahead.
Please, can I also land?
Yes, go
ahead. If we should supply electricity, which has the potential to burn an entire community, should we supply? If we should supply electricity, which has the potential to kill thousands of people, should we supply? If we should supply electricity, which has the potential to cause damages to properties, should we supply?
Right. I mean, I understand from your point of view where you're coming from. We have also spoken with the people and asked them a few questions. But the question I'm asking you is not you taking a safety action. It's you having a communication with the powers that be in the community before you took the decision. Because your action came even into the media as a surprise. We have been with you from the beginning when you tried installing the prepaid meters and you had at some point clashes with the people. We've been with you all through the process till now. And what we heard finally was that you took power from them. So we are only asking how the process went before the power was taken from the community.
So if you are asking that, and I'm telling you that where safety becomes a concern, where safety becomes an issue, where safety is compromised, where we cannot guarantee the safety of the electricity we are providing, where we need to avert the possibility of losing lives, thousands of lives and thousands of properties. Where these issues are concerned, the decision to shut down becomes the immediate decision. It doesn't really necessarily have the time for us to sort of do engagements here and there. Once we realize that we have had, once we realize that we have had unauthorized interferences in our network, once we feel that we do not know, we are not sure. We did not shut down immediately when we realized there were interferences. We actually went to the field to try to ascertain the level of interferences so that we'll be able to manage it. So that if there had to be any fixes, we could do it as soon as possible to avert this possibility of, again, loss of lives, loss of property. We went to the field, we were prevented from working. Again, it is a security issue.
Right.
Safety issue. Electricity is a very, very, very critical commodity. It is a very, very, very good commodity. At the same time, it is a very, very deadly commodity. Very, very deadly. Now, for anybody to work on any aspect of the electricity distribution system, first of all, you even need to be in your safety gear. That should tell us how dangerous it is. Now, that also means that there's a reason why we call it unauthorized and illegal entry. Because you may think that, oh, I'm just doing something on my own, just something in my small corner. You have the potential to shut down supply to an entire area because our entire network is linked. It is a network. It is linked. It is all together. Something could be happening at point A. You live in point B. Your power could end up getting shut down for days because something that happened in point A has indirectly affected your supply. Because, again, the network is linked. So to also avoid a situation where a larger area would end up having much more force, we shut down the feeders feeding these places that are causing the problem. Also, yes, it is unfortunate that some other places or some other
facilities
who honestly have been of great help and they shouldn't suffer this. But again, because the entire network is linked, and because we are not sure of how safe the network is, currently we do not know how the network is. We don't know whether it is healthy or not. Now, should we keep supplying for people to, assuming that people die, we have these calamities where electricity supply is concerned. People die, people lose their homes, fires gut people's houses, people's residences. You will call us and your voice will not be low. You will be livid. You will be livid. You will as if we do not, or we could not anticipate all of this. He's saying that for safety reasons.
So how long must they wait for? Okay, so that's Sechua Mensa, ECG PRO for the Tema areas. But meanwhile, the Energy Ministry says the committee will be set up to resolve the concerns of the people of Yilo Krobo, Lower Manya Krobo Municipality and the Electricity Company of Ghana. This follows a meeting with traditional authorities of the affected communities, the Energy Ministry, Member of Parliament for the area, and the ECG on Tuesday. To go onto the phone lines and speak with Kwesi Obinfosu, who is a PRO for the Energy Ministry, for more on this development. Kwesi, thank you for your time. You're welcome to Newsbeat. What's the update with the meeting of stakeholders on this issue of power that's been taken from these two municipalities?
Thank you, and then greetings to your viewers this afternoon. Yes, a few weeks ago, the minister engaged the chiefs and the people of Lower and Upper Manya, and then the MPs as well. But at that meeting, we realized that the issue has to do with ECG and its customers. In this case, the good people of Lower and Upper Manya. But then ECG was not in attendance. It was just the ministry and then the good people from that area. So when we sat, the minister told them that since ECG is not around, the service provider is not around, you plead with them that we reschedule the meeting to yesterday. Yesterday they came, we sat, ECG was in attendance, the MPs of the area were here, the chiefs were here, even some past or former MPs were also in attendance. And then we all deliberated, the minister sat with them, and then we came to a conclusion that we should all have a similar committee that will go and then listen to the issues and come up with a solution so that we can all make progress. Because if ECG is not able to secure or assure the its workers of their safety, then they cannot continue to provide the services that the good people of Lower and Upper Manya need. And the good people of Lower and Upper Manya must also assure the ECG that will also ensure that their workers can undertake their services under a very, very, very conducive or favorable condition. So these are the things that we need to put in place first before we can make progress. So the committee is supposed to come out today or tomorrow as soon as possible with their findings or with their agreement so that we can make progress and ensure that the ECG can continue to provide them with the services they need. Because other than that, if ECG from their own report goes there to start providing the needed services, and then anything happens, they cannot be blamed for the casualties that will come out from their from their operations there. So we need both parties to agree on something. Then when they come to that conclusion, the ministry will then take the report and then also act on it.
How long is all this going to last? We've just spoken with some health workers who are giving us a very, a picture of a dire situation they find themselves, where mortuaries, are also now becoming difficult to maintain. Health, people who are in bad health conditions are not being able to get all the health service they need because of the current situation. So, is a two-way affair, and not just on the side of the ECG, but the people, especially with the priorities we're looking at when you consider health facilities. So how long is this going to take?
So the minister, looking at the agents of the issue, told them today, it was yesterday. He said today. It is for them. It is now of the chiefs and the good people of and upper to also understand that ECG must be allowed to do their work. You understand? The good people of the area must also understand that ECG must be allowed to do their work. We've witnessed demonstrations, we've witnessed vandalization of their offices, we've witnessed attacks and other stuff. So if they agree that ECG, or they need the services, ECG, and so they are ready to cooperate with them so they can also provide the services, the needed services, that's essential as it is, then I believe we can make a headway today. If they come back to us today, or come back to the minister today, or the ministry today, I believe everything can end now. So the committee were given just today and tomorrow to come up with their findings. And that is what the minister is waiting to hear from them. The chiefs, the youth groups, the ECG on the other hand, and then in this case, national security, because they are providing security for the staff and workers of the ECG. So we are waiting for them. The minister is here and is waiting. It is now in the court of the good people of the area.
Right, but finally, before I let you go, Dr. Anaba of the African Center for Health Policy Research and Analysis says that it's not advisable to provide prepaid meters for health facilities or at health facilities. What do you say to that?
I'm not sure the replacement of the postpaid. I cannot tell whether the replacement of the postpaid. I believe it's in the home. What we know, what they have started is changing postpaid meters in the homes. The issue has to do with the good people of the area complaining of overcharging. So it has to do with overcharging, and then we are giving you prepaid. So when you buy 10 cedis, you use 10 cedis, and it is done. It is finished. When you exhaust it, I've spent 10 cedis. If I'm going to buy the next one, if I need more, I should buy more. And that is the case.
Right, Kwesi Obeng-Fosu is the PRO, Energy Ministry, speaking to us via phone. You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro TV, working with the people to find the solutions for the country. We'll go for a breather. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Newsbeat. Let's use some more stories. The Upper East Regional Security Council has closed down the Bolgatanga Technical Institute following a riot. On Tuesday, students were given a couple of hours to vacate the school premises. Now, there's more in the following report.
Reports indicate that 4 students and 2 teachers, a national service person, and the head of the engineering department were picked up by officials of the National Intelligence Bureau for indulging in examination malpractice. This prompted some of the students, mostly males, to go protest. The angry students again blocked the main entrance to the school, as well as the main Bolgatanga-Navrongo road, which prevented motorists and other road users from using that stretch of the road during the demonstration. Personnel of the police service were subsequently called in to disperse them and control the situation. The disturbance brought academic activities in the school to a halt.
The BNI came in to find out what was going on. Then they picked 2 students, second-year students, who were seen fidgeting a phone, one fidgeting a phone, and another person writing. So they suspected something and picked the 2 guys up. So when they picked the 2 guys, they confirmed that the phones were given to them by their senior colleagues who were writing their exams, and asked them to monitor certain websites on the phone. They'll be getting some information preferably questions. They should answer the questions on pieces of paper. They will come out later and pick them and go back to the exam hall.
The protesters, made up of final year students who are taking part in the ongoing West Africa Secondary School Certificate Examination, and second year students numbering 1,461, were asked to vacate the school by 4 p.m. According to authorities, the final year students will be allowed to come to the school when they have a paper to write and immediately leave after writing their respective papers, an arrangement which would remain till the end of the examinations.
One is about our sport activities. Since our first year time till date, no sport activities for us. Most schools have been going for inter-schools, inter-houses, but ever since we came here, we have never participated in any of them. No inter-houses, neither talk of inter-schools. And our food, we have so many problems at the food side. The food side, we don't get proper food. When you go there, there's no quality, no quantity. If it is no quality, at least there should be quantity so that we can also eat and satisfy.
In another development, the Boko Technical Institute has also been closed down following student demonstration against their school management and teachers for not allowing them use calculators at the exams hall. According to them, teachers spent some time without teaching during the Akola strike, and this affected them a lot ahead of their final exam. The Upper East Regional Minister and Chairman of the Regional Security Council, Stephen Yakubu, said the closure was the best solution for everyone.
We are not going to allow anyone to destabilize the peace that we have in this region.
The minister further said the students will be dealt with by security personnel if they did not pack out in time. Properties, including 7 vehicles belonging to teachers, were vandalized during the students' riots.
Now, the Savannah Regional Coordinating Council has brushed off claims of alleged kidnappings by unknown gunmen at the Savannah Regional Community of Mempiasem. The Public Relations Officer of the Council, Habibu Muftau, in the statement is urging the general public to the threats, the rumor, with all the contempt in it deserves. Now, listen to what he had to say.
I want to confirm on record that there is no near incident of kidnap, no attempt of any issue related in whatsoever, like in whichever way, like to kidnap in the Savannah region. I think some miscommunication led to the news in circulation. What actually happened yesterday in Mempiasem, a farming community very close to Damango, the Savannah regional capital, is that there were these women in the farm harvesting groundnuts. And so while in the farm, they saw this woman passing by and they called her. She came back and then they really could not communicate, I guess for reasons related to differences in language.
Okay.
And so they managed through gestures to establish that she was hungry and then she was thirsty. And so they gave her water and some groundnuts. After she took all of that, she also joined them, to work on whatever they were doing. Already they were harvesting groundnuts, so she was helping them. And so they are all aware of the current trends, issues related to extremism and all of that. And so to be on the safer side, they said it's appropriate they call back home and then alert people back home and probably send down some men to come and then pick her up.
Let's do some other stories. An Info Global Analytic latest survey has tipped the opposition National Democratic Congress NDC, Elikplim Akugru, to snatch the Dom Kwabenya seat from the governing New Patriotic Party after 20 years of winning that seat. Now, this poll followed the dismissal of the embattled MP and her possible as the people's representative in the area. Now, my colleague has been scanning through the survey and joins me live for more of this analysis. Let's see what's Henry has for us. Henry, you're welcome. Henry,
thank you very much.
You've done well with the analysis. And so tell us, what exactly are they saying?
So very interesting. We'll have to look at that is the executive summary of the survey, which says that Elikplim, who contested in the 2020 elections with the embattled MP, Dome Kwabenya MP, would that is snatch the seat. So he's saying that this is executive summary of portion. These are portions or extracts from the entire executive summary. He's saying that the dismissal of Adwoa Safo and her possible removal as MP that has put Eleclem Akugru ahead as the leading candidate to snatch the seat. And the poll, which sampled opinion of 538 voters, saw Eleclem leading the presumption NPP candidate, Mike Okoye. We know that Mike Okoye Jr. also contested in the MBB's primaries with Sarah Adwoa Safo, which Sarah Adwoa Safo won with a slim margin. So what the survey says is that Eleclem is going to win by 59% of the total votes cast if elections are being contested today. The survey also thinks that Sarah Adwoa Safo or Michael Okoye will win by 34. So do you support, these are some of the questions that were asked. Do you support the removal of Honorable Adwoa Safo as minister? 61% said yes, 33% of the 538 persons said no, and 6 said no opinion. Let's move on to the next slide. Can we have the next slide? So do you believe that Honorable Adwoa Safo has been treated fairly by the governing New Patriotic Party? 68% said yes, 24% said no, and 8% said they had no opinion. So assuming there is a by-election and Adwoa Safo decides to contest as an independent candidate, this being that the MPP may assume that they would want to sack her from the party, so she will say, okay, I would want to contest as an independent candidate, and she is going to garner 32% of the vote. Michael Okoye Jr. will garner 20% of the vote, and Eleclem will get 42%. Someone else out of the 538 persons said that 6% will be given to another candidate. So, all right, so let's move on to the next slide. If a by-election is contested between Michael Okoye Jr. and Eleclem Akugru, so this being that that is Adwoa Safo will be set aside and they would put Michael Okoye forward to contest with Eleclem or whoever is chosen by the NDC to contest. So another survey was done in February 2022, just a few months ago. And in that survey, Michael Okoye Jr. had 46%. But now, in the latest survey in August 2022, the vote has dwindled a bit. He's going to garner, I think, about 34%, 46% for Eleclem in February, but now she has 59%. 8% and 6% said. So let's look at this. This is very interesting because this is a seat that has been always won by the MPP. It's a safe seat for the MPP. So the voter population, this is per the 2020 biometric registration that was done.
Okay.
The eligible voters in the area, or the people who registered to be voted, and this, we must say that this is the biggest constituency in the country. They have 172,907 voters. That's the voter population of the Dom Kwabenya constituency. But let's move on to the interesting slide. This is a historical record of parliamentary elections result of Dom Kwabenya, of the Dom Kwabenya constituency. This is in 2004, where the former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Okoye Jr. contested. He won by 65.50%. Isaac Adama won by 32.30%. So let's move on to the next slide. We'll move on to 2008. 2008, Michael Okoye Senior, Professor, contested again, and he won by 57.51% of the vote, with Zaba Zita Okankwe winning with losing with 39.48% of the vote. Let's move on to 2012, where Sarah Adwoa Safo came into the fray. She won by 63.75% of the vote, and her contender got 35.57% of the vote. Let's move on to 2016. 2016, Sarah Adwoa Safo there again, 63,488 persons, representing 62.99% of the vote, almost 68% of the vote, with Nuruddin Mohammed garnering 31.48% of the vote. Let's move on to the last slide. That is, in the 2020 elections, Adwoa Safo's vote appreciated, and she got about 75,041 votes, representing 58.35%, with Faustina Eleclem Akugru garnering 40.64% of the vote. So, as we said, this is a safe seat for the MPP, but from the survey that we are picking up from the Global Info Analytics, they claim that if elections were to be held today, this seat will flip. as we say.
Adwoa Safo decides to go independent.
Either if Adwoa Safo decides to go independent, that is one of it. If Adwoa Safo doesn't contest and Michael Quay Jr. contests, still Electrim would,
in the lead.
Yes, is in the lead and will remain victorious.
I wonder how he's going to close that gap if she doesn't come in to split the votes. But that's how the Info Analytics research that's just come out. The results of the research they have conducted. We will actually have an extensive version of it on Good Afternoon Ghana.
Good Afternoon Ghana. We'll have the man himself in the studio.
And we'll have you as well to help us understand what's going on with the graphics. Thank you for that. You're still watching Newsbeat. Let's take another breather. We'll be back. You're welcome back to Newsbeat. Let's take the business updates. Now, according to a statement released by the National Communications Authority, reports making rounds in the media reporting the NCA has blocked a transfer of majority shares from Vodafone and to Telecel Group by the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization is false and should be disregarded. According to the statement, the NCA received an application for a 70% majority shares transfer from Vodafone Holdings International BV to Telecel Group. Now, however, careful evaluation of the application on several criteria and engaging both parties involved, the NCA included that the application did not meet up with regulatory threshold. The National Communications Authority concluded that its actions were solely to uphold regulatory framework and international best practices. Now, the lead Africa Center for Energy Policy has reviewed that the actual cost of the relocation of the Ameri power plant from Accra to Kumasi has been increased by 40%, ending up a $71.6 million. This, according to ASEP, will harm the already high debt situation of the energy sector.
The $510 million build, own, operate and transfer agreement between Ameri Energy and the government of Ghana for installing 10 new GETM 2500 plus aeroderivative gas turbines and all related equipment ended in December 2021. The contract was scheduled to terminate in 2020 after 5 years post the recovery of investment by Ameri. However, following a 2018 renegotiations, the fiscal tenure of the contract was extended for an additional year. According to the policy lead in petroleum and conventional energy at the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Kojo Yauche, the relocation plan of the Ameri plant was mere negligence on the part of the government.
The government intends to relocate the Ameri plant and locate new plants. That is another 240 megawatts car power, 300 megawatts AXA, and 80 megawatts VRA plants in the face of the constant rhetoric of excess capacity to Kumasi with the expectation of stabilizing the power supply. ASEP has raised concerns over the propriety of this decision, especially against the option of retooling the transmission infrastructure to achieve the same objective.
He added that the actual cost of the relocation has been inflated by 40%.
The Ministry of Energy has advanced negotiations with Mytilineos to relocate and install the Ameri plant from Abuazi to Kumasi with a firmed contract price of $35.6 million. The contract also grants the operation and maintenance to Mytilineos for 3 years at a cost of $36 million, bringing the total cost of the relocation and maintenance of the plant to $71.6 million, barring any unforeseen upward adjustments. ASEP is emphatic on the contract costs, even though the ministry denies it is conclusive.
ASEP recommends that the Ministry of Energy immediately subject the EPC contracting process to competitive bidding than just sole sourcing them to Miscellaneous SA.
This is News Speeds and Sports is next with Phil John Korte.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the sports segment of the news. Let's go straight to Birmingham, where Ghanaian sprinters Benjamin Azamati and Sean Safo have both qualified for the semi-finals of the 100 meters.
Start there from Jeremiah Razzie. Wow! He snatched half a metre off the field there out of the block. Coming back in now with that yellow vest of Azamati in lane 2. They're going to be 1 and 2. Azamati glancing around, easing back.
I stumbled, they didn't pick up a good race, so hopefully there's enough to qualify for the semi-final. We'll see what goes from there. So I'm into the next round, so I'll go back and fix it and come back for the semi-final. I'm excited, but I got a lot to fix, so I need to fix it. So I'll come back and fix it.
So the Commonwealth game, but this time let's talk about women's hockey. Ghana lost to Canada by 8-1, and there was wild jubilation as Ghana scored the only goal of the match.
20th in the world, Ghana 37. That's a discrepancy at international ranking time. Into the middle, lovely little left to right as well, and the off-lay there. Ooh, and it's in. Goal number 1, jubilation, and they can convert that ample possession that they've had. Now can they get the ball away? Lots of opportunities. Now, and that is not a happy goal in terms of the goalkeeper. Oh, Sunumana in there bravely as well. Oh, look at that, as quick as 3-0. And it didn't have the radar. And that little shimmy as well, but it's Burko who has it, sweeps it at goal. And it's in! And they've scored! Penalty corner, and it's a goal!
Well done, Ghana. What a superb effort by the ladies in yellow. And look at the bench, they're ecstatic. You'd swear they've won the World Cup.
Johansson and McManus. Johansson, they've just swapped positions, so McManus is on the left, Johansson moves away, and that deflected goal means it's goal number 8.
Well, just before we hand over for entertainment, let's go to Menchia in the Ashanti region, where authorities over there has ordered the management of Asante Kotoko to remove the image of the Asante Notumfuo on the new jersey of Asante Kotoko. You see the jerseys on your screen pretty soon, and find out what the order has been given to management of the club. There you see on your screens over there, the image is on the far down on the left over there. We've been told that management has been told by the authorities at Menchia to remove the image of the Asantini on the new jersey, which is yet to be unveiled to supporters of the club. So there you see the news over there. That's your sports. My name is Phil John Korte. Yaya is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. Entertainment news is next. My name is Anaya Tanwa-Boache. Now, the movie Aloe Vera is set to hit Netflix. The romantic comedy written, produced and directed by filmmaker Peter Sedufia will be streaming on the Giant platform Friday, August 3rd.
The 2020 movie Aloe Vera, produced by filmmaker Peter Sedufia, will be premiered on the streaming giant Netflix today, 3rd August 2022. The movie, which was first released in theaters in March 2020, did not stay in cinemas for as long as planned due to the lockdown and the restrictions imposed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2021, many fans followed the second official release after the restriction was lifted, and they also requested for the movie to land on a streaming site. For fans of the movie Aloe Vera, which talks about a divided line in one community where the families of aloes and veras, who are sworn enemies who share community, will finally be streaming on Netflix.
Now, despite being entangled in legal battle with ex-wife Amber Heard, American actor Johnny Depp makes a surprise online sale of his debut act collection, making more than $3.6 million within hours of announcing it.
Johnny Depp is making millions from his artwork. The 59-year-old actor earned over $3.6 million after releasing 780 prints through the Castle Fine Art Gallery in London, which he sold out almost immediately after being made available for sale. The Friends and Heroes collection, his first formal foray, features 4 portraits of Bob Dylan, Elizabeth Taylor, Al Pacino and Keith Richards, sold both individually and as a set. According to the gallery, Depp focused on people he has known well and who have inspired him as a person. I've always used art to express my feelings and to reflect on those who matter most to me, like my family, friends and people I admire, Depp said in a statement shared by the gallery. My paintings surround my life, but I kept them to myself and limited myself. No one should ever limit themselves. Despite it being a week after a judge denied Depp's ex-wife Amber Heard an appeal with the Virginia court, Depp has been touring overseas performing with Jeff Beck, with whom he released an album.
And that's all on entertainment news. Annie, over to you.
Thank you, Nanaya. You're still watching Newsbeat. It's time for us to take international news.
The death toll from an explosive wildfire raging in Northern California has risen to 4 after 2 more bodies were found within the burn zone in the remote Klamath National Forest. Search teams discovered 2 bodies on Monday at separate residences along State Route 96, one of the only roads in and out of the region near the state line with Oregon, the Siskiyou County Sheriff's Office said in a statement. After coming under enormous pressure to act, Liberia's President George Weah has ordered the Justice Ministry and police to arrest individuals involved in assaulting university students who were protesting over the high cost of living last week. The student group, rallying under the banner Fix the Country, wanted to present their statement of concern to U.S. officials when they came under attack, allegedly from ruling party supporters. Nigeria's government says it has banned the importation of SIM cards used in mobile phones. Communications Minister Issa Pantami said at an industry conference on Monday that the cards are now produced in Nigeria. Observers say having locally made SIM cards might reduce costs, but with only one manufacturer, overpricing could be a problem. During a historic trip to Taiwan on Wednesday, U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says her visit is intended to make it unequivocally clear that the United States would not abandon the democratically governed island. Pelosi's praise over the island's commitment to democracy is a significant show of support for Taipei.
And that's all we have for you this afternoon. Newsbeat, we came to you live from the Akua Boy Hima studio at North Ridge. We'll be back at 2 with Good Afternoon Ghana. Thanks for watching.